It's time again for another installment of the basics, and I'm getting back to Magic the Gathering because I've received a question about how the multicolored cards work. Apparently a couple of the things I said about them in a previous episode didn't fully explain it, so today's show is going to be all about the multicolored Magic cards, aka the gold colored cards. So let's get started, shall we? Now, the gold or multicolored Magic cards, as they're called, came about in the game for people who make decks containing more than one color. And it started becoming a thing after the first 2 to 3 years in the game because people wanted to mix and match and see what they could do with more than one color. So the gold cards started coming out in subsequent expansions at some point, and we were left with awesome cards that sometimes cost a bit to come out, but you really have to examine each and every one you have because of the different colors they need. For example, you have a simple card like Silver Drake, which is a creature. It's a 3/3 creature. But it costs 3 to bring out. It costs a blue land, a white land, and a miscellaneous, which could be either of those two colors. Mountain Titan, a 2/2 creature. It costs 4 to bring out. A red, a black, and 2 more of any color. So, you see where I'm going with this, because depending on the 2 colors, or possibly even 3 that you're going to build a deck around, that's where you have to figure out which cards will work with those 2 colors that you've chosen. There are combinations like red and black, white and blue, black and green, as is the case with Shambling Shell, white and blue with Overrule. You have black and red with several cards. You have tricolor cards like Fiery Justice, which is a sorcery. It needs 1 red, 1 green, 1 white. Garazul Plague Queen, a legendary creature vampire, 5/5 creature. It needs 7 to bring out. A red, a black, a blue, and 4 of your choice. Blind Hunter takes 4. A black, a white, and 2. So you can see how you really have to be careful of choosing these cards for your deck. So the first thing to do when you build a deck that needs multicolored cards is you pick your 2 colors, you get your lands going after that, your mana, and once you have your red cards and say your black cards for that deck put together, then you start choosing the multicolored cards with those 2 mana costs and add them to your deck. The combinations are really limitless, and there's a lot of good cards, but a lot of multicolored cards, as I've shown you, have this same issue, like Axelrod Gunnarsson. He needs 8 to bring him out. 2 red, 2 black, and 4 more of any color. Even though he's a 5/5 creature and he has trample, 8 to bring out is huge. And I've showed you some of these cards that cost 6 or 7 or 5. So it's a pain in the butt to get it just right. You really have to pay attention. Now you're probably wondering at this point, is making a multicolored deck really worth it? And I say yes, because as I've mentioned on a previous episode of this show, I have a multicolored deck put together. It is a combination red and black deck, and I employ several of these cards, and a lot that aren't pictured here, including Axelrod Gunnarsson. Even though he has a high cost to bring out, it is worth it to have a multicolored deck because it brings you a new dimension of gameplay when you have more than one color in a deck to draw upon. So I would say it's definitely worth it, and you might want to experiment which color goes with which color the best. In my opinion, red and black go together well, blue and white go together well, and I would also say green and white go together well, if you look at it that way. But at the end of the day, it's up to you. Have a great day.